Many games in the detective genre have made significant effects in realistic graphics presentation images, even down to the player observing the suspect's expression for interrogation.
I was angry. I walked in front. I heard shots. I turned and...
Also, in a detective game, cutscenes and NPCs provide context for the story through speech.
There's a bruise at the level of the right maxilla.
However, there is still potential improvement in the use of sound cues to convey information about the quest or the case being solved in detective games. As digital game researcher Stockburger introduced in the game environment from auditive perspective, the term acousmatic sound is a sound that is heard without an originating cause being seen. This sound allows players to actively search for behaviors that cause sound, identify object properties, and pursue features. Another sound and interactive researcher, Collins, mentioned that by letting players actively engage with sound allows them to find the deeper meanings behind the sound, and therefore help with players' engagement with the game world. In the next few minutes, I will discuss the potential improvement of sound cues to convey information by showing how information is currently conveyed in detective games and commands from players. In the most detective games, the player is forced to understand the plot and the case from cutscenes and dialogues. In the Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, the mouse clicks on the magnifying glass, directly hearing the voice of Sherlock Holmes' explanation.
Do you remember what it was?
It was Mycroft. He smoothed things over and convinced the policeman not to press charges. The officer left and never returned. But
in Murder So Suspect, players can hear eyewitnesses tell what they saw.
I still can't believe she died. It happened so fast. I've never seen Grace so crazy before. It must have been the lack of sleep. Thank God it's all...
However, by simply responding to dialogue, players have limited ways to form unique ideas and engage in speculation, which ties them to the game world. They are arranged to click, get enough information, and be forced to move on to the next scene, corpse, or chapter. Players observing or listening to plots and engaging with acousmatic sounds will develop a chain of evidence, enhancing the detective role. Players in the Braindance comments on Cyberpunk 2077 pointed out that it should be enhanced to investigate the interactive reasoning, rather than directly being told the flowing location in the dialogue. When the player reasons out the hiding point through my sound function, it can replace the voice dialogue directly from the scanning in Cyberpunk 2077's Braindance.
Here we go. Old electrical power plant in Charter Hill. Gotta make do with this for now. Nothing else to garner from this scroll.
Guiding the players to actively investigate and explore the case to analyze the hiding point, enhancing the interactivity of the player's investigation and reasoning. Examining this gap, I create a function of sound to explore the potential of acousmatic sounds in detective games through a number of experiments and iterations. In the experiment's first phase, I used acousmatic sounds to show off-screen character encounters, wicking the on-screen information to introduce players to actively reasoning. Through this experiment, I obtained feedback through user testing and found that players could not reason about what was happening through many unknown sound sources. In order to refine the functionality, I modified the game to allow the player to associate the source of sound and the act of making the sound. To do this, I displayed the floor plan of my case on the right and showed the main bulbs in the case on the left side, which the suspect might have different waves to use. The player clicks to play a recording containing acousmatic sounds. Collect the props highlighted in the room. Click on the left and listen to the sounds of props. Place the different sounds caused by different uses in order of priority. Understand the suspect movement by combining those different sounds. Players will determine the location of the hidden treasure by the sounds of treasure being thrown to the roof by the elevator. Through interaction, the player actively repeats thinking over the crime scene and develops a complex and nuanced internal map of situation. Similarly, props are also used to help players understand the case and determine the chain of evidence. In the future, I will be promoting the use of the function and continuing to explore the sound feature in depth on multiple platforms, so that more game designers will discover the possibility of sound to help verify players' conjectures and make a reasoning.